It all starts with one person and one instruction. Then the team wakes up, an intricate web of specialists, each bound by a specific role and profound expertise. But who are they? Let us have a closer look to our team. Domain experts spanning the whole digital experience lifecycle. Yet, simply having all the right parts isn't enough to build an outstanding digital experience. Success requires perfect collaboration. It requires a flow. And of course, this flow starts with one instruction, one prompt. But that single sentence is just the starting point. As agents take your initial idea, spar with you to enrich it, and lock down a bulletproof spec that gives every subsequent agent exactly the information they need. Next, an agent sweeps the live system to map an exact inventory of what already exists. Using that data, agents draft technical decisions and clickable prototypes, establishing the exact contract for the build. A lead developer agent then breaks the approved spec down into distinct tasks, splitting them into independent parallel lanes. Before a single line of feature code is written, the necessary environments are automatically provisioned. Then the build loop begins, where agents write, review, and test the code within those parallel lanes, looping until the entire build is perfectly green. Documentation is generated next and bundled into a final pull request, stopping the flow so you retain full control over the merge. Finally, agents author and audit the site content, publishing the layout, media, and text all at once upon your final confirmation. Let's have a closer look at each phase. The first phase is all about intake and spec creation. This step relies on a constant back and forth exchange between the operator and the authoring agent to capture exactly what is needed, with the final outcome being a solid product requirements document, or PRD. To ensure the highest quality, we have a critical quality gate baked right in. A second, completely fresh and unbiased agent picks up the drafted PRD and challenges it. This review cycle forces corrections and continues until both the operator and the agents are perfectly aligned and on the exact same track. Moving on to the second phase, this step is all about discovery. Before any actual architect or design work happens, our DevOps agent connects directly to a possibly existing Sitecore AI tenant to read existing content models. Instead of guessing, it pulls a precise component inventory, which is taken as base for later stages. Coming to our next phase. First, our software architect. This agent creates formal decision records, locking in one technical decision at a time, along with its context and consequences. Then, the UI designer takes over to generate up to 3 genuinely different, clickable prototypes for you to choose from. These are real working prototypes, not just static mock-ups. The core principle here is that the prototype you pick becomes the strict implementation contract. Your final selection clears Gate 2, locking in the exact blueprint for development. Our lead developer agent takes the approved spec and splits it into isolated, self-contained tasks. It performs strict dependency analysis, organizing the work into independent lanes where one agent owns a lane end to end. The core principle here is that a task carries everything needed to start, so nothing blocks mid-build. Because every dependency lives inside its own lane, no arrows cross. The lanes run completely in parallel and only ever converge at the very end in the actual code base. Our DevOps engineer agent drives the deployment of Sitecore AI resources. It moves step by step through the structure. If a step exists or should be reused, it skips. Otherwise, it creates it. The core principle here is that the infrastructure is real before the first line of code. Because it follows this strict create or skip logic, Rerunning the setup changes absolutely nothing.
Next is the development phase. The standard approach you see first is sequential, tackling the build one task, lane at a time. For every task, you spawn a brand new triad of isolated agents, a developer, a reviewer, and a tester. Any issues loop back for corrections. What makes this so powerful is that nothing accumulates. Every task lane is a fresh start, guaranteeing pristine quality piece by piece before you ever evaluate the final build. While sequential is our rock-solid standard, we also have an experimental parallel approach for maximum throughput. If tasks are proven to be strictly independent, they fan out and run simultaneously in their own isolated work trees.
Next comes our shipping phase. First, the DocWriter agent ensures all documentation is fully written and present. Then, a fresh product manager agent steps in for final approval, checking the delivered work strictly against all initial requirements. Finally, the developer agent executes the release, handling the final commit, pushing the code, and opening the pull request. The core principle here is that nothing goes live unchecked via PR, leaving the final merge and deployment entirely in your hands.
Finally, we reach the last phase, content and publish. First, an agent learns exactly what is available, both visually and from a data model perspective. Next, a second agent uses that component information alongside your brand kit to actually generate the content and manage the pages. Then, a dedicated content tester agent reviews everything. If anything strays off brand, it escalates it straight back for a rewrite. Once everything is clean and gets your final approval, all of it publishes at once. The core principle here is simple. The author never grades their own work. That independent tester ensures nothing goes live until it is perfectly on brand. So, what actually makes this pipeline work so well? There is no single silver bullet. Instead, it is the result of continuous validation and real-world optimization. By closely monitoring the system, fundamentals architectural changes were made over time to build a semi-automatic, self-healing loop, constantly refining the core mechanics, adjusting how agents are guided, how work is handed off, and how resources are utilized, systematically removed friction. The final result is a highly optimized, predictable pipeline that delivers consistent quality. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you build a quick proof of concept, spin up a prototype, or launch a real website. It is also completely irrelevant what brand or industry vertical you are building for. The pipeline simply adapts your needs. That being said, this specific pipeline is heavily trained for Sitecore AI projects, equipped with special steps, commands, and skills embedded directly into the flow. It is just an example that works incredibly well for this specific use case. It is not meant to be a strict copy and paste blueprint for everyone. Everyone is strongly encouraged to build their own tailored flows and setups to match their specific ideas and requirements. What truly matters isn't this exact flow, but the underlying methodologies, ideas, and learnings that make it all replicable.